Hello and welcome to the Human Rights Commission meeting. It's a regular meeting. Today is Wednesday, November the 10th, and it is 5:03. So we're going to get started. I want to call this meeting to order. We have quorum, correct?
That's
Yes,
correct.
we have quorum. Wonderful. Just for my welcome remarks, I want to first and foremost say to everyone who participated in this weekend's Pride activities and festivities, thank you so much for being out there in the community. It really makes a difference to be visible, to be with the community, to be seen, and more importantly, to have a great time with everyone in our community. So that was a fantastic weekend of festivities and events. Today, we're going to focus specifically, and for the public, we're going to focus specifically on two primary discussion items. We'll talk about the revision of our rules and standard operating procedures, which is going to be a living document for those of us who will be here after some of us finish our commission appointments. And then we're going to have an opportunity to also talk about the proposal that Commissioners Rinke and Horn put together for the revised Human Rights Commission Community Service Awards. This will be a good opportunity for our newer commissioners to hear their initial proposal, to ask questions and to engage with that. It will be wonderful if we can bring our Community Service Awards next year. So that would be also a very important item to discuss. So with that said, we're going to move on to item number 4, which is the acceptance of the agenda. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda as it stands in front of us?
I move to accept the
Okay,
agenda.
so we have a
as
motion
presented.
by Commissioner Rimes. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
So Vice Chair seconds it. Any further discussions? All right, so let's take a vote and say hi, raise your hand.
Aye.
For the record, wonderful. So we have accepted the agenda. Item number 5 in the agenda today's presentations. We have no presentations listed. And I don't presume we have anyone in Zoom to make a presentation or to.
No one making a presentation. We may have public comment at the end, but no presentation.
Right. Item number 6 in the agenda is the approval of the minutes of our meeting on October 15, 2025. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes of that meeting?
I have a suggested amendment.
Okay,
On the minutes, number 9B, it says Vice Chair Soha and Commissioner Rinke indicated this item would be moved to the October 15th meeting. Well, this is the October 15th meeting.
Yeah.
So we're doing the November 10th meeting or which meeting?
so what it means is that we didn't include that in the agenda. We missed that.
So these are the minutes from the last meeting. Was the draft standard operating procedures were discussed?
Yes.
So I think we can revise this to say that the meeting or that the draft procedure was discussed and is being brought back to the November meeting.
Okay.
That seem appropriate?
Then I just have another comment is, you know, in the minutes, there's nothing about the discussion or what was recommended and what should be done for follow-up. So, you know, I was absent and I reviewed the minutes. I reviewed the meeting and the verbal dialogue, and there were some recommendations, but they're not listed on the minutes.
But you raise an interesting point, and I don't remember the exact date. Within the last couple of years, the city council moved to action item minutes. So they're only collecting on the minutes, the name of the item, the vote, and was it approved or not?
Uh-huh.
So you're not getting all that detail on the minutes. Now, this commission wants to go to a deeper type of minutes. We're talking about the standard operating procedures now, so that would be a good time to say, hey, we want to collect minutes in more detail. We could certainly do that.
Well, I was just thinking in terms of the recommendations, because we don't see that. So how do we follow up
Okay,
the discussion from the previous meeting?
so it would be helpful if we added the recommendations on the agenda. That we can do.
Okay. Thank you.
Wonderful. Any further discussion? So with that said, can we then move to make those amendments to the minutes?
We just need a motion and a second.
Motion and second, so motion, okay,
Accept.
Commissioner Reinke, and I need a second, Commissioner Horn, any further discussion? All right, so let's take a vote, raise your hand, approve. Okay, thank you so much. So that was item 6. And no public comments. Anyone on Zoom here to provide comments?
No one's raising their hand.
Nope. Okay. So we're gonna move on to action, item number 8, which is new business. We have none listed for today. Action 9, we're moving right into the discussion item. So 9A, it's discussion on the standard operating procedure. This document is still a draft. Just as a quick reminder to everyone, particularly our newer commissioners, this is work that started some time ago, but it was never really completed. And we never actually took a vote because we didn't feel that it was there. There were some items in the document that didn't quite pertain. But this new draft that you had the opportunity to review and read feels very, very complete. And I would like to open up this for discussion. If any of our commissioners have any recommendations, questions, suggestions, think about this document as our living document in the way we are going to sort of govern this body of work in this group for years to come. And as a living document, obviously, it can be brought for further revisions every year or as needed. It's not going to be a document that is going to be approved and then we do nothing about it. So any commissioners, any comments, any suggestions?
I have a comment.
Yes,
And I
Commissioner
brought
Moore.
this up at last meeting. I'm not sure if it fits into this, but it's about interviewing future commissioners. And that was regarding, we don't interview them, the council interview, but is there a way we can suggest that they ask the candidates how many hours are they gonna dedicate to the commission weekly or monthly? No. And because we need to clarify how many hours it takes to be a commissioner on the commission. And then there was one other issue regarding that, the interviewing of the candidates. I can't remember.
Yeah.
At the last meeting, when I was watching the video, it appeared that, and it may have been you, Commissioner Horn, that asked the question about interviewing of the candidates, and is it the full council or a subset of the council? And you may have got incorrect information. It's the entire council that interviews members of the HRC at that point. That changed recently. So candidates will go before the entire council at a public meeting. Now, what you're asking, I think I can relay that message to our council liaison, because she would be the one that would be helping us communicate then to the full council. So I'm happy to do that.
Okay, that's great. And ask if, obviously, I would think, obviously, that they would be asked why they want to be on the commission and what they expect to gain from it.
And also their experience and what kind of background and experience that they have that could actually support or make the commission's work much more conducive to serve the public.
And that's really up to the council. So we don't really have a say.
I will say, so I had to do the new experience of the full council in this room during the interview, and I actually got asked all those things. They sort of went like round robin around the table, so they do cover a lot of that, but I do think it's smart to at least suggest that, hey, these are things we deem are important for someone interviewing to join us. Because I know from other groups and boards that I sit on, a lot of us are speaking about, we'd love to find people that also have certain expertise and skills in certain areas that fill certain roles. And so that would be really helpful, just to relay to Councilmember Gordon.
I will do that.
And if I may add to that, I also had the same experience where they asked me all the questions that you all are asking of them. So I don't know if it's already on their agenda already, but they really did. Every council member that was there asked me questions and everything that you brought up. So
Yeah.
You were lucky.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I didn't answer any questions.
You didn't.
Me neither.
So
But that was a while
when you
back.
were interviewed, you were not asked these questions?
Wasn't even interviewed.
No, but that was how long?
We're not
ago?
It was
interviewed.
during COVID.
Yeah, it was a different
It was
process.
a COVID.
Yeah, yeah. But, I would say that, some of the city council people have never attended or don't know what goes on at the Human Rights Commission. And so it would be helpful to have some kind of representative from the commission itself to be interviewing, something to ask Grace.
Okay.
So very importantly, and as the chair of this commission,
Uh-huh.
I do get the invitation to sit via Zoom when the interviews are being conducted. I don't get to ask questions, but I'm there just listening, right? And then if a council member feels, and it's not just me, it's every commission and every board, chairs, chairpersons, will be able to join those interviews. We don't get to ask questions, we don't get to interact with candidates. Probably will be asked for feedback on, how do you think the interviews go, and if you have any concerns or issues. But we don't get to decide, this person or that person. This is an entire decision of the council.
I can add one comment. They are public meetings, so really anyone on the commission could attend and watch the interview.
Okay.
That there wouldn't be an issue there. You can also make public comment at the meeting. So it is a very different process than what you went through, and it sounds like what you went through, much more inclusive and I mean, it's a full council meeting.
Yeah, because when I was interviewed many years ago, it was it was only two of the council people that interviewed me. I think the application is pretty much the same. I don't think the application has
I think
changed.
the application is the same.
Is the same.
It's just the process that is.
Yeah. So maybe we can make a suggestion. I mean, if we review the application and you feel like a question needs to be included in the application, we can certainly make that recommendation.
I would just like to play the devil's advocate here and saying, if you're trying to meld a group of people who work together and who collaborate, I think to your point, Scott, it would be helpful to have some kind of maybe review of the applications and give input to the council prior to the final interview. I mean, that would be my suggestion because, we're trying to create an organic type of a group, a collaborative kind of a group or committee. So having our input in some way, I think would be helpful. But maybe since already the chair of the commission participates in at least listening in on the interviewing, do we put that into our standard operating
That probably
meetings?
is one of a very good suggestion that could be included in the standard operating procedures. Both of those suggestions, Commissioner Rinke, would be, I think, acceptable to include, right? So not just the chair sitting on the interviews, but also, as a commission, do we have an opportunity to look at the applications and see if there's anything that jumps at any commissioner to say, hey, right? Because the most important thing is that we are part of the community and we want to work with other people, members of our community. And, when the time comes for some of us to not be in the commission and for some of you to stay on the commission, I think it would be great for you to find that nice working chemistry for new commissioners as well. So that would be my recommendation. Any other quick comments or suggestions? I have one, but I want to hear from you guys first.
Oh, I have a tiny one, and it's my fault. I brought it up last meeting, and I wrote Jerry an email and did not press send because I was multitasking and lost the email. So what I was meant to send you was under any tardiness or leaving early from a regular commission meeting of 15 minutes or greater. So under excused absences.
Mhm.
I know it's very specific to which causes a lack of quorum shall be judged as an absence. Is there a way to add that if we speak to the chair or to you that sort of the same process as any sort of absence that is excused?
In terms of procedurally, yes, but I think it's a question for the commission. Is there comfort with the commission on that?
Can you
Restate it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, if someone is, so it's saying if somebody has to leave or leave early or arrive greater than 15 minutes late and it causes a lack of quorum, it's counted as a inexcused absence. But if it was someone who alerted both the chair and Jeremy that we have, like, you have to leave early, you have to do this or that, is that still counted as an unexcused absence or excused? And my thinking was because all of our other absences that are excused are once you contact within a certain period of time, that it's counted as, I thought it would be consistent to do that with these as well.
Mm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Are we in agreement there? I'm happy to make that change.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
totally in agreement, totally in agreement.
And I have another question that's not clear. For the excused absences, is there a number of excused absences that you're allowed before you're asked to leave the commission?
It's an interesting question. The way it's written, you're really penalized on the unexcused absences,
right.
not the excused absences.
Mhm.
But again, we'll turn this back to the
Yes, because
commission.
excuse absences would be anything like, have a medical or you have personal item, things to take care of. As long as you communicate it, you will not be able to participate with good enough time. Obviously, that is totally excused. What is not really cool is, that you don't show up and you don't communicate to.
But what if you have 3 consecutive excused absences? That's
Yeah.
what I'm kind of thinking about.
The city's municipal code would not have you removed at that point.
Okay,
It's the unexcused absences, 3 of those that would cause the problem.
good to know.
I think it's just the lack of communication going on.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if someone were to miss so many meetings in a row, even if they let you know, there would be a point where you would step in and say, are you still able to participate in this commission? Is that correct?
Yes. So as the chair, and for those of you who might take on this later, yes, you are able, and it's right here, as a chair, you may make the recommendation that someone needs to be considered for removal for the lack of engagement or some other types of issues, right? The media policy is very clear. Remember, media, one voice. We haven't really agreed or discussed something in commission meetings. We should be talking to the media. So that would have been a big, big red flag for anyone to say, oh, well, I'm speaking on behalf of the commission. So yes, I think those could be definitely incorporated into the document. The one comment I had is with regard to the annual report. And it would be on label page number 3. And it's item I. The commission shall prepare and present an annual report summarizing its major activities, policy recommendations, and community partnerships to the city council. This report shall highlight outcomes aligned with the council's strategic plan and demonstrate progress on commission-led initiatives such as education, advocacy, and community engagement. So to me, this item feels like, isn't this the presentation we give to the council when we have boards and commissions presenting that is summarized in those 4-5 slides?
Question for me?
Question for
Yeah.
everyone in a way.
I would say yes. However, that meeting, you have a limited amount of time. If you keep this here, it may give you an opportunity to get to council and give a more robust presentation.
So in addition to the slides, just flesh out a document that talks specifically about what we're presenting on those slides.
And again, this is an operating procedure, so not something that you're not tied to it. It's not written in stone. It's something to help guide you. And if, what you present at the annual meeting isn't sufficient, then you could go and do something in greater detail.
Okay, so if we were to write this report moving forward, then the question I have for commissioners is, how do we even get together to write a document collectively? And it could be started as a Word document that we share or any kind of document that we share, and then everyone has an opportunity to put input, right, towards it. Remember, it has to be definitely entirely aligned with the council's strategic plan and objectives. That's what really triggers the work that we're supposed to do.
And I have 2 comments. Tonight I have a lot of comments.
No, this is
That's
fine.
what happens when you miss a moment, right? So, in the I, in this particular area that you're addressing, This report shall highlight outcomes aligned with this council's strategic council. You know, outcomes bothers me because we really don't have any measurable outcomes outside of, activities that we've done and maybe just counting those activities. So I have an issue with that word.
With the word
outcomes.
outcomes, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, if I may, but we can have measurable outcomes. So you can word it where any possible outcomes, because you don't want to always, like, that's a good thing that you pointed out about measurable outcomes. It'd be nice if we would have some in the future.
We're a commission.
Right.
But I tell you, I've been on this commission for 2 years and it's hard to really do something that's measurable amongst the 5 or the 9 of us. And so I've struggled with this actually, thinking like, how many homeless, encampments do we visit? What kind of, advocacy we've done, each of us have done to various nonprofit organizations. It's more, how many are, what's the quality? So, it's more qualitative work that we do than
Then
quantitative.
quantitative.
Right.
Yeah, because we can and I agree, completely agree.
Yeah.
You can say, we participated in these many community events,
Mhm.
right? The 1PS,
Yeah,
we go to the parades, we've engaged with other local, state and national organizations who have presented. That's quantifiable in a way that numbers. But then what is the quality? And I remember well when we had the conversation in our last meeting about, can some of these organizations provide us with like a 1-page
okay.
document that encompasses what they do, how the community can engage with them. So that could be also something to consider. But I see where you're going with this. I think the word outcomes really signals that we are being measured.
Yeah.
Outcomes follows measuring, doesn't it?
It's very corporate. You could say something else like impact.
Impact,
Possibly.
impact with numbers.
Yeah, I mean, that impact, yeah.
You like impact?
It
Well,
could be something else.
I like impact, but I also think this goes back to what I said in the last meeting, which is that this, and I know you were predated this, but this commission sort of was redesigned, and a lot of limitations were put on. And so I think that everyone is still trying to figure out what that means and what we can do. I do want to say though, I agree with Commissioner Remus that we can do things that will show tangible results, right? And I think that there's community events we can do, and there's things that we could work with the city on. I think it is up to us to start think about those things and putting them on our agendas. And then I think it's a slow process, but it gets the ball rolling that we can start doing something that we can say, like, we actually did this in front of the community, with the community, not just here in this room.
Mhm.
And I agree with both of you that I'm anxious to get to that part of this
Mhm.
commission as well.
So hopefully we'll have a draft of the municipal code revision, and everyone had the opportunity to provide feedback and comments. So that is tangible. That is real tangible
Right,
And
right,
big.
impact and huge, right?
right.
So, yep, I mean, we can find a different word, but this is where this document needs to go. And so any suggestions on the language, on the use of the document would be absolutely welcome, because the most important thing is that this document needs to be there for all of us and the people that follow us, so they know how to engage in this commission. Commissioner
I
Remus.
just have 2 minor comments. So on page 6, right above the word vacancy, there's a paragraph that talks about, this is just a grammatical thing, and this is just the professor in me, where it says, after 3 violations in 1 fiscal year, the chairperson of the commission shall certify with the city clerk that such violations of the commission policy have occurred. And the member's office, you see where it says members, there should be a possessive apostrophe.
Easy.
So that's very minor, right? That's just a grammatical thing. So something that's more substantive at the end of the page where it says at-risk population groups.
Mhm.
So after the first sentence, the commission shall review at-risk populations annually and may choose to focus efforts on different populations.
Mhm.
After that, I just simply suggested, I think I discussed this and I emailed this before from last meeting, I would suggest that the commission would put down at-risk populations include the protected classes as referenced by the state of California.
Yes. Yes.
And those are like the 18 protected classes that we've talked about before.
Mhm. And I know you even shared with us, possibly if I remember this correctly, a webpage
Mhm.
from the state of California that lists all of these protected groups
It's from the California State Legislature.
from the California State Legislature. And that webpage obviously gets updated.
So it's always nice to like make a reference to the state of California because it's 18 now, might be 23 in 5 years from now, who knows?
Should we reference the webpage? The web
I would say
URL,
that would be a
yes.
good,
Yeah.
Because the source is the state of California.
that would be a good inclusion.
My only caution on it, the verbiage, we can actually absolutely get in there, not a problem. My only concern with using websites is sometimes website leaks are broken or change. And then in your document, you have a website that doesn't work. Perhaps we could point them to the direction of as found on,
As found or as adhered to by the state of California legislature.
I mean, if
And that
If-
takes care of that.
so directed that we can definitely put in a web address. It's
Well,
just
does the
raising
list-
a
oh, sorry.
potential.
Sorry, does the list have an official name, I guess, is a good, like, if we,
It's called the protected classes.
yeah, so if we, can we say that to simplify it and say but I like what you added after, before that too, as adhering to.
The state of California's
Yeah.
protected classes.
Yeah, I think that's perfect.
Each state has them.
The state legislature,
Mhm.
correct? That's the biggie.
Yeah.
And that source tells it all.
I have a,
So,
so,
second
are we
sentence.
gonna continue
Right.
having
Read the second sentence.
presentations?
We certainly can.
I would like to have hopefully one presentation per meeting. And maybe after the presentation, we can sit and create a paragraph about what the presentation was about and what we can do about the presentation. So that could show up with the council that we are actively participating, and it would give a little boost to our meeting, meaning that there's some substance.
Okay.
So,
So are you volunteering to write that?
I'm not a very good writer, but okay, I'm thinking, if I volunteer, what is it that I'm gonna be doing? Making a list of organizations that should do presentations?
Maybe a summary of today, in today's meeting, we had this organization presenting. And,
Oh, I can do that.
and just, like a snapshot of who they are, how they can help our community. Because in your role as commissioner, you can totally do that, right? You're helping the public get educated about one organization or another organization. This is
But when
what
we
they
go
do.
into discussion about the organization, that becomes public document, right? So,
Everything we say is public,
right.
everything.
So if we say something a little bit critical of, well, there's these areas that the organizations, is that all right? I mean, are we able to, because the presenter will read that and might discuss.
Yes, Commissioner Horn, I think everything we
Okay.
say is for public consumption.
Okay.
There is no boundaries in terms of what you say and is recorded. That's how the media picks up the sound bites.
Okay. I'll do that.
I'd like to add, though, I think where you were going at the last meeting and where I think you're kind of going as well, is an example is when Roman Ruiz presented the homelessness data, what the city was doing and where he would need some reinforcement by the Human Rights Commission. Well, we never had any follow-up or discussion about what we could be doing or how could we help enhance their effectiveness with the navigation center and with what else was going on amongst the police. So I think that's maybe an example, is that
Yeah,
right?
it's a very good example because Roman is an expert.
Yeah.
And that's where we get our information.
Mhm. So that's wonderful. If you volunteer to do that and create those snapshots, that would be wonderful.
Okay,
Right.
so, and then the question just is,
How do you
are we
make them
going to
available?
discuss groups or?
I can help do that.
Okay,
And just one more comment on this document, is that here it is. the, the strategic plan area. So the annual, I want to point out, the annual strategic plan changes annually. Does that need to be pointed out here? It's not like we just have one annual strategic plan that we have to align our activities. It's modified
council.
annually with council. So if you could put some language into that.
And just for everyone's reference, it's page what? It's page 3, right? Item G? Item G?
Yes.
Item G?
Item G, absolutely, yeah. Recommendations, yeah. So just something about, with an annual review, so that we would annually review our activities. Thank you.
When is council putting this strategic plan out for public view? Do you remember what happened this year? Was it July or August?
I think it tied in with the adoption of the budget, which would have been late June, early July, right about the time they went dark. They'd done the work ahead of time, pushed it out, and
I
then
think
started
so,
the new
that's what it
year
was.
with the new goals.
Does that totally make sense for us to really just absorb what the council is putting out in terms of their strategic plan and objectives, so that we can discuss how best to support that as a commission?
Yeah.
Right. Great. Any other comments or recommendations for this document? Simple.
So what I will do, I'll make the revisions and get it on the agenda for the December meeting so it can be adopted and finalized. We can put it on our website, make it, this is the official document, these are the rules that we follow.
And just so I understand, at any time, one of us could bring up an amendment to it or say,
Yes.
we need to update something.
Yes.
Great.
At any time, anyone can raise that and say, I think it's time to look at the standard operating procedures. Or when something happens in discussion and you feel like we should have thought about this when we were reviewing and revising the standard operating procedures. That could also be a really good time to raise a need to look at it again. This needs to be a living document. Needs to be a living document for future commissioners as well. So thank you so much for that. All right, great.
Can I make a comment before we get started on 9B?
Mhm.
So this is an item that has been brought to the commission before. Commissioners Rinke and Horn put a lot of work into this. The three of us have met before. I wanted to let the group know that on the city side, we have some staff that are still looking a little bit deeper into how to vet candidates. So that was quite a big discussion last time with candidates come in. How do we make sure that there's not something with the candidate that we aren't aware of that would interfere with the award? So that is being looked at on the city side with our communication team and the city attorney. That work is still ongoing.
Mhm.
So I kind of throw that out there that that piece is not yet done, but should be completed by our next meeting. So that maybe provides a little bit of context, but we have new commissioners that have never commented on this program.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's your two hard work that brought this to fruition.
So why don't you provide us with maybe a summary, a brief summary of your specific recommendations for the new commissioners to wrap their head around what you were presenting? And I know you were very good about putting out, certain items that you felt were important for the commission to consider. We were vetting both individuals and organizations to receive a community service award.
So you would like us to do a synopsis for the commissioners that are not,
Commissioner Soja is new, Commissioner Nevins is new. They were not part of these discussions
so
before.
should
maybe
we
you
get
can-
together, you want to get together or just do a synopsis of our last meeting? Of what
Well,
we-
I think it's fairly self-explanatory here. I don't know what you all think. We were trying to, just some context, we were trying to standardize a way to review these applications. And so again, measurement. What is the best way to compare these groups with using some kind of a metric? And so that's why this candidate entry, that the candidates would have an introductory paragraph, who it serves, its mission statement goals, not to exceed 400 words. The organization provides a description or resume of activities in the previous 1 to 3 years, showing its commitment to human rights. The third one is how the organization benefited the community, specifying which communities. And then the fourth one is their interactions with this Palm Springs city government in case of the fact that there might be some conflict there with city business. And the fifth one was to explain your future vision for the city of Palm Springs and how it can better promote human rights. And so using these, and you know, this is really up for grabs. You know, this has been sitting on the back burner for quite a few months. And if anybody can do it better, please
Yeah.
jump into it. And then we were going to assess them, 5 points for each of the 5 with the 5 categories. And then again, how do we assess this? We were proposing a closed meeting where all the, where the liaison would identify the top 5 or 6. We would then assume a measurement in an internal meeting. And then from that measurement, 25 being the highest number of points. And then go ahead and then whoever gets the highest number of points would be, would get the award. If there were 2 of them, if it was tied, then both of them would get. I mean.
But
please go ahead.
that's changed because the council, this will be, so the point system that we developed is I'm hearing that we're gonna do it in a closed session?
Well, that's kind of open for discussion. And that we would make a recommendation to the city council who could go over all the information.
Right, okay, so that's,
The city council would make the final determination.
Correct. We can't have closed sessions to decide any of this. This
Oh.
needs to be public, okay? Very important thing to consider. Transparency is everything, and remember, some people thought that we might have done something not right in the past. However, having said that, one of the issues that I continue to have is with the process for nominations. In the past, nominees came nominated by organizations or people, and the commission was not privy of who was submitting nominations because we needed to eliminate the bias. If we're gonna open this to have people and organizations nominate themselves, there's a certain element of bias in it, right? I want to get a community service award because I want to help my organization be recognized. So that's a very important consideration. And I don't see that here. This reads to me a little bit like, you know, if you are part of a non-for-profit and you feel like your non-for-profit needs to be recognized by the Human Rights Commission, you may very well submit a nomination for that organization and, you know, and it's very much, it's self-dealing. So that's one of my biggest concerns with this recommended procedure. And I'm just putting it out there on the table for everyone to think about.
Sure. What do you think is the better
In
route?
In the past, we would not know who submitted the nominations. There was an application and community folks would be saying, I'd like to nominate Bobby Rimas because of his work in social justice. And he's done so great with the LGBTQ community. And we think that he's very worth it. That's great. We wouldn't know who submitted his nomination to eliminate the bias. With the candidates who were the troublesome in the past, we didn't even know who submitted those nominations until it became an issue.
And it hit the media sometimes.
And the media got involved, the Post got involved, and they blew it out of proportion. And I'm sorry, I'm saying that because it was the truth. Now, for the public to know. So that's one of my biggest concerns with how do we move this forward.
So can a person actually nominate themselves?
Before, no, that was one of the requirements, not self.
Okay, so we add that to the candidate entry.
Now, are they able to under the new?
Well, it sounds like with this recommendation, it sounds like anyone can nominate themselves,
Okay, so no self-nominations.
right?
Yeah.
That's one of my concerns.
It's legitimate.
I think it's also important that there's no council nominations, like council members do not.
They
hold
should
any
not get
nominations,
involved.
So that sort of muddies the water.
This
I
was
think
one of
the issue last time was also that there was a issue of two candidates that were questionable because of their past political involvements in certain issues. So then the question arose, how do we vet them? How do we know if one of these candidates was, just to say part of the Nazi party or whatever it is? That's a bit, over the top, but you do have to sort, and I'm sure council will look into that the person isn't controversial in the sense of alienating groups, so that was what happened, really.
Question, so how did it work in the past? Was there people submitted to the commission or to the city
There was an application online
online?
and anyone can access the form. There was a deadline for application submissions. Our city staff liaison, which was Jay Barada before, would get all of those applications, collate them, and then remove specific information about who, emails and things about, this
Yeah.
came from Scott Nevis at scottnevis.com.
Yeah,
Um,
that's not my email, so it's okay that you said that.
So that will be removed. So when we actually receive the applications, we would just read the substance of the application. This is a non-for-profit, this is an individual, and what was the impact that they have created for the community.
Mhm.
I remember one year we gave an award to the owner of Oscars because of the work that he does for the homeless breakfast and Christmas.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful application, and that's real impact, right? Don't know who submitted the application. So we would receive the applications, there was a deadline, we would review them, and then we would literally kind of vote. Every commissioner would have an opportunity to read it for substance and say, I believe this organization, I believe this individual, it's worthy of receiving an award. We finalized the list, probably brought everything back to commission meeting one more time, just to say applicant number 4, yes, or applicant number 4, nay.
So there was no actual name of the person or organization attached to the, interesting, okay.
Until the candidates were finalized, we would then take it upon ourselves to contact the candidates, and this would be the work of the chair, the vice chair, and at that point, we had a commissioner at large. We would contact the candidates to say, you've been nominated and you've been selected to receive a community service award, and we need to know if you're going to be willing and able to come to our February meeting at City Council chambers to be recognized in public and to receive your award.
Now, the most recent, I guess it was 2 years ago, when the issues arose, I had no idea, as a commissioner, I didn't see any of these applications at all. It was kind of held, I guess, between Jay and the chair and the vice chair. So that process, was a little bit invisible to the rest of the commissioners.
So we can certainly open it up. I mean, this is the crux.
Right.
How do we vet these applications? Do we eliminate the opportunity for people to self-nominate? Certainly, council should not get involved in nominating anyone, because that creates bias.
HR commissioners are excluded from being nominated.
In the past, you could nominate an organization or an individual. You could say, look, I've been working with this organization as commissioner, and I think they are really good and they deserve a community award.
But not if you were on the
But
board.
nobody on the commission can be nominated.
Us?
Yes.
No.
That's what- yes,
No.
that's right.
I cannot say, I want to nominate Don Sorja for being such a great vice chair.
Yes.
I thought this was my year.
No.
But we,
Or Jeremy for being such a great staff liaison.
but we could
Oh, man.
nominate someone outside.
Yes, like, if you see a non-for-profit, if you know of an individual who's doing outstanding work in the community, helping our at-risk groups,
But not if you're on the board of the organization.
not if you're in the board of the organization.
Yes.
Okay, well, I was gonna ask that, because in here, which I love, it says you would have to recuse yourself from the vote on that individual or organization. So are we saying you can't, like, you and I cannot nominate Palm Springs Sister Cities?
No, because we're on the board.
Yeah.
But does that mean Palm Springs Sister Cities can't be a recipient? Are
No,
they?
no. It means
Just
that
you.
someone else,
Okay.
not Scott and
Not
not
you.
myself, could nominate Palm Springs Sister Cities.
And then you would be recused from any discussion? on the
Discussion and things, because we're on the board.
And also probably recuse from the vote.
The vote?
Absolutely. yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and what happened 2 years ago was that certain people, a couple of people were nominated, and it was discovered that they had made homophobic comments in the past. And it
And
also,
ageist comments as well.
it bled into the council through certain council members. And then outside forces blew it up, and we got ransacked over the pole.
The media got a hold of us, and I don't know how they got a hold of us, and they just ran a series of stories. And it's like, now it's out of your control. You can't even, pretend that it's not happening, and everyone is reading the post updates, and you're like, what?
But going back to the original process you described, I don't see, what did the application look like in the past? It's no
It
longer.
was a
on the-
very simple form,
It's not on the
nothing
website.
complicated.
Uh-huh.
I think we can resurrect that PDF.
I've never seen it for myself. This predates my time with the commission. But what I can do is locate it through our kind of our internal record search, and I can email it to the commission. So we have it, so this kind of dialogue can continue at the next
Because I think
meeting.
that's a really good way to look at what happened before,
Yeah.
and how can we make that process
Not happen.
solid.
ever again.
Solid, because we certainly want to continue to recognize outstanding work and achievements from our community members. I mean, that's,
But the question is like, how do you rank it? Do we have some kind of a quantitative or qualitative way to do that? And that's what we were trying to do here, MJ and I.
Yeah. And keep in mind what Jeremy said at the beginning, the city and the city attorney's office is getting involved
That's right.
in helping us figure out the vetting,
Okay.
the vetting process.
But I will ask, in your proposal, you have a point, says there's 5 questions and you're rating them from 1 to 5.
Right.
Will there be a rubric to help us understand what's a 5, what's a 4, what's a 3? Or is it just going to be subjective?
I guess we could have a subcommittee, less than 3, look at this and try to fill that out.
Just a question. I
No,
mean,
no,
it's-
I mean, it's a good question. It would be helpful.
But the rubric would be, it would be common, it would be secret. You're saying the rubric would say why they got 5 points?
Yeah, we would explain ahead of time,
Oh, yeah.
what does a 5 answer look like? What does a 4 answer look like?
Yeah.
If we do that on the HR side, for if we ask a question, tell us about your previous engineering experience. Well, if they have 10 years of experience, they get a 5. If they only had 4 years of experience, they get a 3. So kind of defining how we're going to get to the score.
How long they've been participating in whatever they've been nominated for.
Like if they're brand new to the organization, maybe they only get 1 point, but if
Oh,
they've been
right.
associated with the organization for 10 years, they get all 5 points.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And to that explanation, I can think of 2 examples that fit right there. For example, Oscars and the Breakfast for the Homeless, right? He's done this for years, and it gathers a lot of community support to fund the actual cooking and all of that. It's just wonderful. Vincent Corrales during COVID, and Thanksgiving. I mean, he takes it upon himself to cook turkeys and meals. During COVID, he was running, using his own car to shop for people who couldn't leave their house. And he's been doing this forever, right? It's a wonderful member of our community. When you see that, and you can see that these folks have been doing this for a long time, there's no question. It's like, they should get the 5 points if 5 points is the top score. that's a kind of validation that I think needs to.
We're looking for people that have really made a mark on our community. Sure.
Yeah, but validation,
The
it's an important
validation.
point. Besides duration,
Yeah,
I mean, how
validation.
else do we validate the activities?
So just walking through it like spitballing here, if we have people submit applications, you get all the applications, you come through, you remove the name and the organization, emails, all that stuff, right? So it's redacted in a way. We see it and we say, bing, 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 we gave 25 to this one, 20 to this one, so they both, whatever it is, we figure it out. Isn't that the point? It should then go to whatever the city comes up as the vetting.
That is my understanding of what our plan will be.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, just so I want to make sure everyone was clear, because that, to me, that makes sense, right? Because then, let's say something does get slipped through the cracks on our end and we say, wow, this sounds great, but then they vet and something is wrong. Does it then come back to us is my question, I guess. Or do we just, and say like we have, I guess, sorry, this is tied into it. I'm confusing myself here. It's tied into another question I have. How many awards are we giving?
There's really never a limit. There've been years when we've been given 5, other years when we gave
Wow.
about 7, probably. Before my time, probably a few years, there was 3 or 4.
I've never even seen the award. Is it
It's
a
a wooden-
proclamation?
It was a beautiful
It's a
plaque.
nice wooden
It's a
plaque.
beautiful plaque.
Yeah.
It's a nice wooden plaque.
That says, Jeremy Hammond receives his Community Service Award for his service to the community
Okay.
by the Human Rights Commission.
Got it.
When the awards were given out, this last time, we didn't even know what the people looked like.
Uh-huh.
We were just sort of sitting there and these people are going, who's that? We didn't know.
So
But
do-
that's good. I mean, that's great as far as keeping it
That's good.
fair.
Yeah.
So does this commission make the recommendation who gets the award and then the city council makes the final? Or
That's,
do we actually make the choice?
that's quite possibly the way to go. I don't know.
How was it done previously? Were you the final arbiter or did it go to council?
We were the final arbiter.
We were the final
But
arbiter.
now it's the council, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So we suggest the candidates and the council decides who.
Is that settled? That's a decision? Oh,
Nothing is settled.
I mean, I have to say, these are our awards, so we should be picking.
We should definitely
And unless
be
they're
part of
vetted
the
and we find out
process.
there's
I
a
agree with
problem,
you. I agree
then
with
those
you.
are our selections. That's like, I don't know, that's like,
I don't think
this
the
is hilarious. I
council,
was a judge at the Miss Kentucky pageant for Miss America, and if we picked the winner, but it didn't go to another committee that then was like, we don't want them, so I think that is also, I think if it's coming from this commission.
Well, I think, first of all, I want to say, there, you can get on the website, the city's website, the number of previous recipients.
Oh,
But
yes,
there was
yes.
like 8 of them from 2024. Why do we pick, people send a pretty clean application and you just give them the award.
And this is a Human Rights Commission award, not a city council.
That
yeah,
is
but the
correct.
city council wants to be
Not the
the
city of Palm
final
Springs giving
arbiter.
this award.
Yeah,
it's
so
the
do we need-
Human Rights
Have they-
Do we
Commission.
need such a
expressed
rigorous
that
criteria?
they want to
Yes.
make the final decision?
They said.
That's a very
didn't
good
the council
question.
say,
Would it be helpful if I asked that question
Yes.
to our council liaison?
Yes, please.
Said, who wants to be the final?
Yes.
I think they stated that they wanted to be the final
Well-
because of all this.
They have stated it before when everything was going on. Let's find out how they feel about it now and let them know that
I
as
don't
a
see the point.
commission,
I-
we
I-
feel that we should make that decision if anybody else feels the same way.
Part of the problem though is there, years ago, some Facebook or some social media postings that we're not aware of, that could get us in trouble, could get whoever chose them into trouble. And so that would be my concern. So we want to take away that responsibility from us or have a second level of vetting.
That's a great example. I don't think, I know maybe some of you have a lot of time in your hands, but some of us don't. I don't want to do the rabbit hole going into people's social media to find out.
But the city is going to.
Someone has to.
Yeah, that's what we're researching now is how deep or what we can look at without infringing on people's constitutional rights.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I certainly don't want to go into the rabbit hole
No, and we
of
shouldn't,
your
right?
Facebook page.
That's not our job. We're not investigators. So here we are, we get the applicants, we are voting on, who we think should be the recipients of our award.
on
And then
their-
it goes to the city to be vetted. They all get the all clear, just like a job or any other award gets the all clear. And then they say, okay, you're good to go, and then we give our award. To me, that makes the most
It
sense.
does make sense.
So timing and logistics for the event is also important, because once the future recipients have been contacted and they have agreed to literally be there to receive an award, then we have to create scripts. And we have to think about the dates. We usually do it on the following month of our regular meetings. And it usually takes place in person at city council chambers.
At a council meeting?
No,
Or
our
something
human
separate?
rights,
Okay.
human rights. So for example, if our meeting in February was the second Monday in February, that would be the perfect day for us to host the award ceremony in chambers.
And correct me if I'm wrong, because I attended two of them. I don't remember the years, but it was, Willie Ryan was one of the recipients, I remember that. And it was Human Rights Commission members up on the dais and presenting each person. I believe maybe each commissioner said something, or somebody was invited to say something.
The idea was depending on the amount of recipients.
Yeah.
And, it's only 9 of us, right? So
Yeah.
if we have 8 awards, of course, everyone has an opportunity to present at least one. You could have presented one, Bobby could present one, you could present one.
Mhm. I guess that opens up the question that I threw out earlier is, should we set a limit of how many we want to give?
That's a good question.
Well, yeah, no?
Depends.
Uh-huh. If we have a lot of good applicants.
Yeah, if they're qualified.
We
I
had
mean,
8 applicants before that that was 2024.
Mhm.
In 20, that was,
I know COVID was a busy year because there were so
Sure.
many
That's a good point.
folks and organizations just helping.
I don't see any of the previous years going back to 2012, 2010, with just one candidate or two. There's multiple candidates.
There was one year they had like 50.
So
So I suppose it's possible that someone could get nominated. We go through an entire process, you make an award selection, city staff vets it. You then contact the individual and they say, no, I'm
Thank you,
not interested.
I'm not
Yeah.
interested,
Okay,
yes.
so that is possible.
It's totally possible,
Okay.
has it happened?
not in my time.
And we don't fill that spot, then it's just one less award we're giving
Correct,
out.
correct.
So then maybe it does make sense not to have a set number, like we always give out 4 or 5, like maybe that's too rigid, right? Because at the end of the day, these should be fun too. Like this is us saying thank you for carrying on the work that we believe in and actually implementing it in real time in the real world.
That's the reason why we need to have these discussions and really figure it out.
So looking at this document, which is great, by the way, the only thing, the one thing that jumped out at me is we always say organization. So do we have to say persons or organization / person? So it's clear that a person could be nominated?
I would say an individual.
Individual,
Or an
sure.
organization.
Yeah.
'Cause you can have, as a person, you'd be completely, if you merit of the work that you've done to help our community
Yeah,
as one
Organization.
individual.
organization person. Good point.
Yes.
I've taken plenty of notes, so I think I can put what's been prepared into maybe more of a
Also
kind
using
of
the word
mirror it to our
individual.
SOP type documents, has same kind of flow.
Okay,
And then add in the piece about the city vetting.
okay.
Also, the use of the word individual does not have any kind of gender attached to it. So I think it really
Individual.
covers
Mm-hmm.
That
the full
works.
gamut.
And then under, so the second section that says HRC designated staff will review the submissions. I guess we are getting rid of a special closed meetings. We can't do that. So we'll get rid of that. Just say a meeting is scheduled, all commissioners will attend. So I guess that would be our following, if we put this on a calendar and backdate it, right? That we'll figure out which meeting that is.
That is correct.
Most likely, most likely, that's soon, when you think about it, if we're looking at
It really is, it would have been, again, previous years, by now, by November, those applications will be coming in. Will be already coming in, because we would have the month of December to do our work. Then the full month of January to contact recipients, and then have the ceremony in February. But right now, obviously, we're not there. It does not have to be February. It
Oh,
could be
okay.
March, it could be April, it could be May. as long as we get this right.
Got it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, in thinking about this though, if we can give out as many awards as possible, maybe we don't need this rigorous criteria, a way of measuring. I'm just throwing that out there. Maybe it is just all qualitative. I don't know. If people have been in the community and have been respected for 5 years and they're doing great things, I mean, Willie Ryan, it's sort of this recognition. Do we need to go through these steps necessarily?
Well, I mean, we need to vet only because of controversy.
Yeah, for controversy. There you go.
So I actually,
Mitigate controversy.
Mitigate.
yes, correct.
The legalese.
For us.
Thank you.
But to vet controversial candidates.
So I asked the Chamber of Commerce how they do it with the star selection. And it is people who are saying like, I want you to get a star. They submit an application that they fill out from the Chamber of Commerce. And it does have a few questions about like, why are they deserving of this? What is their history? So you really you got it right with a lot of these. It's like, what's the history? What is the connection to Palm Springs or to the greater Coachella Valley? And it sort of helps you narrow it down and say, yeah, you know what, they are the right person to get this, and then you vote. And I think that's a real
Yeah.
system. And I think it's not cumbersome. It's a one sheet, and sometimes Evan told me that it says like see attachment. People will put a 2-paragraph thing in an attachment. But I think there's a way that we follow what you have here to at least give us the information. We keep talking about we love like information on groups, and this is it. This is people's, I could just say I want to nominate Bobby. Well, we all love Bobby. Okay, let's do it. It's so, I mean, that's the thing is I think we do need that little history and background. So it's in front of us saying this is what they've actually done. And that also, by the way, is good because then when the city does whatever they are going to do to vet, they can also confirm all of that.
MJ and I worked on this collaboratively, just to be clear.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's great.
Thank you so much. Great work.
In Hollywood,
Good job.
for the star on
Yeah.
Hollywood, it's how much money.
Yep.
Yeah, how
The
much
movie
money the
company.
chamber gets.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not at all.
merit based.
Yeah.
We're not in Hollywood, thank
That's
God.
Hollywood.
All right, very good. So there's nothing really for us to vote, or if there's any further discussion for item?
What's the next step on this?
The next step, well, we need to hear from,
Falls in my court, so I'm waiting on some kind of further work on the vetting. And then I'll put that information along with what's here into a format that looks similar to the SOP document that we're looking at, so everything kind of looks consistent. So I'll bring that to the December meeting.
okay. So we don't really have any voting items on discussion?
Can I add one more thing
Yes,
to this
please.
discussion? Just thinking if we're not gonna do February, which I don't think we'd realistically be able to. I would say the furthest we want to push it is March, because after that, some of the people we may be awarding will not be here, as there are people who sort of leave after season.
So as a target, if we can have the
March.
ceremony in March,
That'd be
that would be awesome.
Yeah, right?
That would be
Gives
awesome.
us a little bigger room. Not a lot, but a little.
Could be done.
Yeah.
Great.
So
All right. Okay, so we're gonna move on to, there's nothing to vote, and I think we're just gonna move up to item 10, which is any additional comments or requests from commissioners?
I have a comment, continuing the conversation that you had at the last meeting regarding having a website, communication, even a discussion of the newsletter. What I was thinking was, we need an IT budget so that we can have some kind of a page on the website. I think this was sort of the consensus of the discussion. If we could, but we need a budget to do that in order to have a website and to be able to somehow craft a newsletter or a way of communicating to our, to the public, including some of the links, some of the helpful links, maybe even like legal aid links to people who are, victims of ICE raids and want to know some, other families want to know some possible avenues to go to appeal. But I'd like to say that I thought that was a very a potent discussion, and that maybe we should follow up and talk about that at the next meeting.
Mhm.
Any discussion?
So my only two concerns there is who writes the updates and who gets them approved for for sharing for distribution. And because,
Chime in.
right, and because we are always, you know, we have to remember we're part of the city. The city has a communications
Yes, yes,
department,
Definitely.
so they need to get involved in some capacity. I don't know, Jeremy, how do you feel about
I can share that I actually met with the city manager today and with Councilmember Garner today about
Oh.
website development for the HRC, so a very timely
Oh.
discussion. And I've been given some direction to work with our communications team and see how we can maybe leverage the Engage Palm Springs app and website. If we
Okay,
can somehow get a link on there to redirect to information that we want to provide. I have access to the current city's HRC website. There's not a whole lot of information on it. It's really agendas
yeah,
and some boilerplate language, but that's where we can start putting stuff. If we determine what do we want to put there.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna start working on some of the summaries of presenters, that would be a good place to put it. We can cross-link it onto Engage Palm Springs. At least start advertising it when we go places.
Because many of the organizations that have presented to this group and to the public, that would be a wonderful opportunity to just create that one or ask them to create a one-page document or maybe even bullet points.
what about their slide
What
decks?
is, their slide decks, right? What do they talk about when they came to meet with us? Not the whole public will even consume the videos that are posted on the YouTube channel. But they're there.
Right.
There's,
right. Yeah,
there's,
that makes
there's
sense.
a place where the videos live.
Let's not get into discussion territory here since it's
Okay.
not an
Oh, that's right.
agendized matter.
Can we agendize this for next
We
month?
can, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would be a great agenda.
If I may bring something up, at last month's meeting, everybody had been given a hard copy of the subcommittee presentation that Commissioner Renke and I had worked on. And I asked that you make notations on it and turn it into this meeting. And you either received them by email from Jeremy or received them from us at the last meeting. And if anybody has those to turn into myself and Carlotta, I would appreciate that so we can go forward with finalizing the suggestions from the subcommittee. I'm not going to discuss it as far as that. I would just like all of your written input so we can do whatever we need to change.
An opportunity for action.
Yes. Even if we can't do everything.
And in my discussion with Councilmember Garner earlier, she is the council liaison to this committee. And she provided an email that I'll push out to the group later this afternoon, I guess this evening at this point. And it'll have some of her contact information. And also, she's letting us know that she will be at the December meeting because we'll be able to discuss the final revisions to the municipal code at that meeting.
Yes.
So it's an important topic. She'll be an ambassador really as we push that through at the council level. So she'll be at the December meeting.
Thank you. That was my comment. We really need to bring that municipal code revision to the commission and to completion. It's almost the end of the year and everyone has had an opportunity to provide feedback. If you haven't done so, please, commissioners, you still have a little bit of time to provide your thoughts, your comments on that municipal code. Just remember, this is really good work and work that is going to basically live after we leave the commission. So thank you, please.
Is there a presentation at the December meeting?
We don't have anything scheduled.
Oh, that's good. Then we have, yeah.
Because this next steps is actually the reading, right, of our proposed.
So the
municipal
group
code
will
revisions.
finalize the language and really bless the language. I'll prepare a council report. There'll be a first reading. Council has an opportunity to comment, and then there'll be a second reading and adoption.
Okay.
That's where we made it as far as the first reading last time, but council had some concerns and threw us back to the drawing board.
Yeah, I know there was some
Particular section.
legalese language there that needed to be included. But again, so yes, thank you. That was my comment and request rather, if we can bring that to December.
Done.
Lovely. Anything else, commissioners?
Yes.
Commissioner.
So are we going to, can we put choosing presentations on the next agenda to discuss a list of
More organizations that we're gonna get involved.
organizations? I was thinking maybe if we could have the high school do a presentation at our next meeting about their issues with human rights. Can we schedule that for next meeting?
So
Do you know who we would contact? I don't have any contacts over there at the school district.
Superintendent?
Okay.
And I'm trying to think, if not the superintendent, then, you know, it could be the, you know,
Maybe the principal.
the trainer at the gym for the kids and, or do in other words, to just find out if there's issues with kids that sort of trample on other kids.
Do they have a human rights organization at the high school?
Right, well,
That's a possibility if they do, having them present something.
or we could go beyond that and just get, obviously the school has a board. Maybe somebody from the board.
So this is interesting because we used to have a student representative.
Yeah.
Sitting in the commission. We no longer have a student representative, but that doesn't preclude or prevents us from inviting some representative from the school to come and participate in our meetings, even give a presentation about the issues that kids face these days. Right?
Right. Even the principal of Palm Springs High School. you
Yeah.
know.
Simply tell us about their organization if they have a.
How do they deal with these?
I'll work with some contacts and we'll
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
check some
Doesn't have to
availability and
be,
get someone, if not the December to January, I'll try and find some dates.
Doesn't
that
have to
work.
be a technical presentation. It can be what they're doing within their school to promote their human rights.
Certainly,
Or what kind of human rights issues are
Yeah.
they experiencing?
understood.
I have a suggestion just about presentations. Can we sort of, this sounds very legal, but adopt a policy, but come up with a request that all presentations be pertained to 5 minutes? I feel like I've sat in, not here, but in other groups where sometimes they've gone on for 25, 45 minutes. And I just know that we have a lot that we need to get to as well. As important as the presentations are, I just think we have to really make sure that we're not losing a ton of meeting time.
Does that need to be included in our standard procedures document?
I guess I would turn the question back to you. You put it in the SOP and it's a little bit more formal. Do you want a little bit of flexibility? Do you want to say we generally ask that presentations be limited to X number of minutes to leave a little bit of wiggle room?
I'm not comfortable with that because certain organizations have a lot more information that they need to get to us. We can certainly ask them to keep it as brief as possible because our questions are gonna come next. But do we wanna, I mean, do we wanna make a 5-minute presentation? If it was the LGBT center, it would probably need more time, or DAP, or one of the big organizations are gonna need more time.
You know, I agree. I think maybe 10 minutes is good, but what's being delivered is content for what we can do or what kind of action we need to take. So I think these presenters are very important. It exposes us to the community.
5 minutes is just saying hello. I think it needs to be a minimum of 10 minutes, possibly even 15.
Or ask them, how much time do you need to present
Yeah.
to us?
That's dangerous because they could say 45 minutes.
Minutes,
No.
Like they,
Well, we'll
yeah.
say no, we
Yeah.
can't.
I think saying 10 minutes sounds fair. I mean, I think that's a
That is-
generous amount of time. And then obviously we're not gonna have a buzzer go off, but I think, so they're aware that we do have other business and things to
For
get
public
to.
testimony, there's a limit in time.
There is for public testimony, but these are invited guests, right? So if we said 10-minute presentation, I think that also, I will say as somebody who's given presentations, right, as many of you have, that also is nice to know when you're figuring out what you want to present and it helps you sort of focus what you need to say for that group.
And then 5 minutes of questions.
Yeah.
I think we walked through this previously, I believe. I mean, the criteria, of how we would set up these presentations.
Do we need to create an outline? Like, these are the talking points. Who are you? What do you do? How do you help the community? How do people get in touch with you?
We're getting back to a discussion.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
But
Have to reel you in, sorry.
that's fine. It's not an agenda item. but it's an
But in
important.
terms of the timepiece, I can add something to the SOP that was a agendized item. I can put it on the SOP, and when we're adopting it next month, if it works for everyone, great. If not, you can make a motion at the table to say, hey, let's adjust it a little bit and we can be
Mhm.
done.
Would that be important to put in the SOPs? Because there might be times when there are no presentations. It seems like it's sort of like this is a point in time.
Mhm.
Do we want
It
to?
does not have to be included there.
I mean, we could set our own sort of rules as opposed to codifying it in a
It'd be
document.
much more informal.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
What
that's
do you
fine.
think, Remy?
I agree with you.
And one last thing also about the subcommittee that Carlotta and I are working on. If you have anything to turn in to us tonight, feel free to. If you'd like to email us within the next week with any suggested changes, fine. Otherwise, we'll consider that you've accepted it like it is.
Okay. So those would be kind of the items for December.
Okay.
Right?
It's like
And
we're
I don't
having a
know if,
robust agenda.
it sounds like a really, it's the end of the year, so let's finish strong. I don't have anything else. Any other comments? Any other questions? So I need a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn the
Okay,
table.
thank you, Commissioner Rivas. Second, Commissioner Rinke. So we're gonna adjourn. The commission will adjourn to a rescheduled meeting scheduled on Monday, December the 8th, 2025. I'll see you all at 5 o'clock. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.